cannot see me, okay?
No. Hello, can you
Hi, hi. There you are.
Thank you very much for accepting.
Oh, that's all right.
I was talking to a nurse from Sweden, and they're going totally the opposite way than Norway, and the neighbors.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you because I'm in a lockdown, and for me, it's really difficult to hear it, but you never know because all the people are different. So but you are the neighbor. So I wanted to know, do you think what do you think of the Swedish solution?
Well, first I must say it's hard to, this is stuff for the epidemiologists. So how this will all turn out in the end, that's of course, I think I don't know, I think we have about 210 deaths or something in Norway. And in Sweden they have a lot more, about 2,000, 3,000 something. But on the other hand, they are talking about perhaps 30% of the population of Stockholm being immune already, and this is not something that will go away tomorrow anyway. So how this will all probably we are going through it, aren't we? Oh,
yeah.
So
they don't know the immunity. It's not sure because they say that you get it afterwards again. So
yeah. We heard different stories about that too, but so I think it's a bit. I don't have very strong opinions on the Swedish solution, and on the other thing is I think we should. It's not necessarily that different because they also they take measures, but it's not based on prohibitions or lawmaking, but more on trust, and I think that's something that when the social scientists describe the Scandinavian countries, they always talk about this high level of societal trust, which is a good thing, and I think perhaps in Sweden they are even better at that than us. So yeah.
So what's the Norwegian way to do it? Can you just tell me, what can you do? What can't you do?
I'm not, well, we when things just accelerated early March, of course, schools closed. Now they are starting to open again at the elementary level and the kindergartens. All social gatherings of more than 5 people were prohibited, and then we have all these measures. We are supposed to have 2 meters distance outside. And of course all cafes, all unnecessary businesses are closed, and of course the costs are enormous, like everywhere. But how the Norwegian approach, if it's much of a difference from other countries, and I haven't gone into the specifics of that, but we are all in this situation. What's if there's something particular about the Norwegian, what happened in Norway, I would mention the cabin ban. That's been a big thing.
The cabin ban?
The cabin ban, yes, because Norwegians tend to have, we do have cabins along the coast, or mostly along the coast, or
like lodges.
even more in the
Lodges. Okay.
these houses that they used to be small, now they are a lot of them are villas. But so lots and lots of Norwegian families have these cabins that they are very fond of, and they spend as much time as possible there, especially the urban families. They go out, and when this this lockdown, or these measurements came, these measures came, then of course that was, working from home. That means you do have internet in your cabin. So we all Norwegian families went in their cars to go to their cabins. And these cabins are located in municipalities, or of course with that are not where the health services are not dimensioned for that many people, especially that if that many people became ill at one time. So there was a lot of so then came this cabin ban. We were not allowed to go to cabins outside our own municipality, so that in my case I would not be allowed to go to our cabin, which is in the Voss municipality, 100 kilometers from Bergen. Like many other Norwegians. And then came Easter, which is the high season for cabin, for staying at the cabin in the mountains. We always go, late in the winter, we go up in the mountains to go skiing in the late. So that was, if there's something that's says something particular about Norwegians, it would have to be that we were not allowed to go to our cabins, and there had to be a special regulation for that. That's us. Yeah.
So, just one favor, but don't go too near, because if not, I would see you very near.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Just now it's okay.
I can put on my glasses and go. A little bit back.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to choose.
Don't worry. I would like to know, you are museum curator, no?
Yeah.
So what does this mean for the museums? Is it a very economical, tragedy, because some museums trying to make streaming and things like that? What does this mean for the museums?
A lot, because like my museum is, we now have we have to we have about 35 people who are not going to work, who are on unpaid leave, or that's 35 of 77. Of course, we cannot open our museums. I work for the City Museum of Bergen. We have 9 locations, 9 museums, big ones, small ones. Altogether, I think we have about 200,000 visitors a year. And this year, right now we're closed, and I don't think there's much of a chance for this tourist season. Bergen is a very big tourist port, or cruise ship port, and so we will lose a lot of money. And so far, these packages, financial packages from the government, they haven't quite reached our sector. So we'll see. My museum has about 30%. About 30% of our economy is our own earnings. So it's
I think in Germany they open just now the museum, but I'm not sure how it works. If you have to let the people in with mask and only some kind of group. So you have a lot of groups, I suppose, also of pupils and tourists, no?
Yeah, and right now yesterday there was supposed to come some new regulations, and there are some more openings now. I think we can have up to 50 people with the if we take the right measures and do things right. But we'll see. I think this will probably develop over the spring. So yeah, we'll see.
Do you do also online streaming and things?
Oh yeah, we do. So you know, in that sense, we learn a lot. To what extent that will keep us in touch with our audience, I don't know, but actually one of the museums was that I work a lot with was supposed to have to reopen on the, when was that, 15th 14th of March, and that could not be. So one of the first thing we made was just without preparing, I just walked through the museum talking about it, and and was filmed, and it was just put out on Facebook, and a couple of days after, I think 6,000 people had seen it. So
Wow, right.
of course it's and then we in my museum we do quite a lot of what we call I don't know the English expression for it, but it's called we call it living museum. That's drama-based museum pedagogics. So we have a couple of actors in our staff, and we develop. We have this open-air museum with old buildings from the old wooden buildings from the city of Bergen, and so we
now as well.
Hmm?
You're doing it now?
Yes, no, well, this is something we have developed over many years, so that we have these families living in the houses, and so when you come as a visitor, you are met by these families that think they live in 1826 or 1886, and they are in that world. So
And sorry, in these families, are they now affected by Corona?
They are very much, because they are, of course, they are actors that we hire for the summer seasons.
No, but do you do it in the theme like they?
Yes, actually, we are. So what we do is we make these small. Of course, having actors and having this resource in the museum makes us able to make these small dramas that we now film. So actually, yesterday we made one from our 1826 family that will be put out on YouTube in some days. So that's the resource that we now can use for all that it's worth.
My question is also, I read that the museum, as we are in a historical situation, they started to collect, I don't know, masks, people and letters and blogs. Are you doing something like this as well?
We in my museum, we haven't started doing those things yet. Perhaps we should, but I know that we are talking to each other among the museums, and I see there are some developments there. There are some. I think there will be documentation, and there will be there will be collection works on this, and I know there some museums are starting to document or let people document their lives in this exceptional time. And I think when we come to the 17th of May, which is the very big thing here, which it is our national, what do you say? It's our national day. It's we celebrate the Norwegian Constitution from 1814 on the 17th of May. So it's a big thing here. So I know some museums will document this year's 17th of May.
Yeah,
Should perhaps also, today is holiday in Norway.
Yeah, he as well.
Yeah. So I think one should also document these digital 1st of May marches.
Yeah. No, because I read it. So you are as a curator. I have a question. If you come out of this now, will you see the exhibition maybe, or the painters you selected? Do you think there will be a change from before Corona and after Corona?
No, we don't, we are mainly a cultural history museum, so we don't have much of, we don't have art. There is our neighbor museum is the big art museum of Bergen. In a deeper sense, I'm quite sure, because I think you have to see this situation not in isolation. You have to see it in the broader context of humanity and nature and sustainability. And we have this we have this dogma in our museum that we are supposed to work to have sustainability, both as a museum but also as a theme, as part of our practice. What we discuss and which themes we work on, and yeah. So and I think that's my these are of course very. There is this openness now, or this we don't know how this will work out, but I think the world should definitely see the connection between the corona virus situation and the climate change situation, and as this general awareness of us all being in the same boat, and that humanity has to take care of nature and itself as nature, and yeah. So I think I think that will be more that in that sense, broader sense, I really hope that this experience will be that we will be better at bringing those themes into our exhibitions, and I think
the thing is, for example, art in itself. Do you think it helps the people to it helps the people to escape, or to I don't know, to work emotions with this impact? Or
I think definitely yes. I think art has that, will always have that function and that role, but escape is one way to see it, or you could see it as art and culture as a way of understanding who we are, which is not escaping, but more taking being aware of who we are and taking control of our lives. It's I don't think we should see art and culture as this therapeutic zone. I think we should put it more in the middle. Than that, yeah.
My last question is: do you see something? I suppose you said that before, but just to resume, do you see something positive or constructive of this crisis?
You know, there's always something positive and constructive. That's, you know, of course, that's crises are not good, of course, and as you know, much better than us in Norway, in Spain, it's you've been hit so much harder so far. So it's perhaps a bit early to speak about the positives, but well, again, we do see people, you know, we're always told that people only live for their own sake, or for their own interest, that people only follow their own interests. But we do see that every time there's a crisis, you see that that's not the case. People do things that are not necessarily in their own interest for some higher values or ideals, or things that just we are not as simple as capitalism wants us to be. so capitalism is just one of the tools we use to organize our society. It's not us, it's just a tool, and if it doesn't work, then we have to look at it. There is this tipping point feeling that this could lead in direction of isolation and less trust, and a more less cooperative world, as you see, and there are all these forces now pushing in that direction, like the President of the United States and all these. On the other hand, you have this insight that, or the crisis must be give a very strong insight into the fact that we are so we are so connected all around the world. It is a global world, and we have to have institutions, and have to have global institutions. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your point of view, you know, and thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.